The formula ranks Wilt Chamberlain number 10 all time. The number is almost certainly too low. In the early 1980s, a pickup game took place at Pauley Pavilion on the UCLA campus. Magic Johnson organized the teams as he usually did. He assembled Bernard King, James Worthy, Byron Scott, and A.C. Green. On the other side, he gave Wilt Chamberlain four UCLA freshmen. Wilt Chamberlain was 43 years old. He had been retired from professional basketball for nearly a decade. Magic's team kept scoring. Magic kept calling fouls on Wilt. At some point in the game, according to Larry Brown, who was coaching UCLA at the time and watched the whole thing, Wilt had enough. He said, "There'll be no more layups in this gym." He blocked every shot after that. That's the truth. I saw it. He didn't let one of Johnson's shots get to the rim. His team of UCLA freshmen won. Magic eventually disputed one of Wilt's blocks as a goaltend. Wilt turned to Brown and said, "Hey, coach, was it a goaltend?" Brown said, "No, that was a clean block." Magic said, "What do you think he's going to say? They're his kids." The story is told here not because it is unique, but because it is representative. There are dozens like it. Wilt Chamberlain at 43 with four freshmen shutting down the best team in basketball in a pickup game. The man didn't change. The sport changed around him. The formula saw 69.7 regular season net wins, another 4.5 in the playoffs for a combined 74.3, an average of 4.98 a season, a peak of 13.69, the highest individual season in the database. His top three averages second all time. Composite rank 10th. The 10th place ranking understates him. The formula knows this. His entire career was played without blocks or steals being recorded as statistics. The NBA did not track those numbers until 1973-74. Wilt retired after 72-73. Every season of his career, 0 blocks, 0 steals in the database. For a player whose primary competitive advantage was blocking shots, this omission is significant. Contemporary accounts describe him blocking 8 to 12 shots per game in his prime. Some estimates put his career average above 10 blocks a game. The formula credits him with none of that. His actual peak season with accurate data would almost certainly be the highest individual season in the history of basketball by a margin that isn't close. Born in Philadelphia in 1936, he was 6 feet tall by age 10 and nearly 7 feet when he entered high school. He considered basketball, in his words, a game for sissies and preferred track and field. His high school track coach recalled Wilt appearing at a Big 7 championship meet, having barely practiced that week after playing an entire basketball game the night before and tying for the conference title in the high jump at 6 feet 6 3/4 inches. He set the Philadelphia high school scoring record, played 2 seasons at Kansas where the NCAA widened the lane, introduced offensive goaltending as a rule, and banned inbound passes over the backboard specifically to limit him. He lost the 1957 national championship game to North Carolina in triple overtime and was named tournament MVP despite being on the losing team. Then he spent a year with the Harlem Globetrotters, including a historic exhibition tour of the Soviet Union before entering the NBA in 1959. His rookie season, 37.6 points and 27 rebounds per game, rookie of the year and MVP in the same season. Nobody had ever done that. Nobody has done it since. In the 61-62 season, he averaged 50.4 points per game, not for a week or a month, for an entire season. On March 2nd of 62, he scored 100 points against the Knicks in Hershey, Pennsylvania. He shot 36 of 63 from the field and 28 of 32 from the free throw line. The free throw number is interesting because he shot 51% from the line for his career. And the night he scored 100 points, he made 87.5% of his free throws. He holds 72 NBA records. He's the only player to average at least 30 points and 20 rebounds a game per season, and he did it 7 times. He led the NBA in assists in 67-68, the only center in history to lead the league in that category. He shot 72.7% from the field in 72-73, his final season, which remains the highest single-season field goal percentage in NBA history. His career averages of 30.1 points, 22.9 rebounds, 4.4 assists per game. Those numbers have no parallel in the history of the sport. Arnold Schwarzenegger was filming Conan the Destroyer in 1984 when he met Chamberlain, who had a role in the film. Schwarzenegger, a 7-time Mr. Olympia champion and one of the strongest bodybuilders who ever lived, recalled what he witnessed in the gym. He came to the gym. He would do a tricep extension. The big guys, the strongest guys, do 120 pounds. Let's say he would come and do 150, 170 pounds. That's how strong he was. I remember that he lifted me up with one arm like nothing. There's a famous photograph of Chamberlain and Andre the Giant holding Schwarzenegger between them, each gripping him with one hand, making one of the strongest humans alive look like a child's toy. Schwarzenegger's not a small man. Neither Wilt nor Andre appears to be straining. Stories about his physical strength are numerous enough that they passed into legend status. He reportedly lifted the back of a car off the ground with his bare hands when a teammate got a flat tire. He challenged Muhammad Ali to a fight at various points and then declined to follow through, which Ali interpreted as fair and said so publicly. Whether that interpretation was accurate is unknowable. What is accurate is that Ali, who weighed 220 pounds and was considered one of the most physically imposing athletes of his era, believed Wilt was a genuine physical threat. Wilt kept meticulous records of his own life and used them as argument. He was famously competitive off the court in ways that extended to counting. His autobiography included a claim about the number of women he had been with, which generated enormous coverage and which he later said he regretted writing. The claim itself was less interesting than the underlying psychology. A man who had spent his entire career having his dominance questioned, despite putting up numbers nobody else had approached, who responded by trying to quantify everything. Bill Russell said of him, Wilt was the most awesome offensive player I've ever seen. Defensively, he may have been the best ever. That sentence from Russell, who rarely gave praise without qualifications, is worth sitting with. The man who beat Wilt 11 times in 13 playoff series thought Wilt might have been the greatest defender who ever played. The formula has no column for what Russell was describing. That is the formula's limitation, not Wilt's. The standard criticism of Wilt Chamberlain relative to Russell is that Russell has always had better teams. There is truth in this, particularly in the early years. The 59-60 Warriors went 32-40, and the formula records minus 1.1. The 62-63 Warriors went 31-49, and the formula records minus 2.81. The 64-65 Warriors went 17-63, and the formula records minus 10.24. 3 seasons below zero. 2 of them deeply negative, all 3 on losing teams where his statistical production couldn't overcome the losing context. But the argument that Russell always had better supporting cast isn't accurate across every season. Wilt's 66, 67, 76ers team included Hal Greer, Chet Walker, Billy Cunningham, Wally Jones. That team went 68-13 and is still considered one of the greatest in NBA history. Wilt produced 13.69 that season, the highest individual season in the database. He was the best player on the best team in basketball. The formula saw it clearly. The 71-72 Lakers produced 9.66 with Jerry West, Gail Goodrich, and Elgin Baylor in his final season. The 72-73 Lakers produced 8.13, 2 excellent seasons at the end of his career on championship caliber teams. What the formula also sees is those minus 10.24 seasons on 17-win Warriors, which will tell you a player whose individual production was genuinely exceptional, measured against a team so bad that even historic individual numbers couldn't make it positive. That's not an indictment of Wilt. It's an indictment of what the franchise around him was doing in those years. He was inducted into the Volleyball Hall of Fame. He was a competitive racquetball player, good enough to be considered among the best in the world in his age group. He reportedly dunked from the free throw line in practice. The NBA eventually banned dunking on free throw attempts in response to this. He appeared in film and television roles throughout his life, most notably in Conan the Destroyer, alongside Schwarzenegger. The rules changed as he forced across his career the most concrete measure of his dominance. The NCAA widened the lane, introduced offensive goaltending, and banned inbound passes over the backboard because of him. The NBA widened the lane again. Goaltending rules were modified. Hack-a-Shaq was eventually named for a different player, but the concept of intentionally following a dominant center to limit his effectiveness was invented specifically for Wilt. When the rules of a sport change multiple times to address a single player, the sport is acknowledging something that statistics cannot fully capture. The ranking 10th behind Kareem, Duncan, LeBron, Bird, Magic, Jordan, Russell, Shaq, and Pippen. The formula puts him there primarily because of 3 deeply negative seasons on losing teams and the missing block data that would elevate every season of his career. Add conservative estimates for block shots and the ranking moves. Add actual historical estimates, and he competes with Jordan and Kareem for the top 2 spots. The formula counts what he was given. It was given a career without blocks. A player who may have averaged 10 blocks per game for 14 seasons was credited with 0. Larry Brown watched him do it at 43 with 4 freshmen against Magic Johnson and the future NBA champions. He didn't let one shot get to the rim. The formula missed all of it. The full net wins database is free at willf123.github.io/NBA-net-wins. All written content in the formula original works. All rights are reserved.